Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are back with another live stream of Hearthstone. We're starting a little late today, just kind of woke up late, but we've got some weird things. Alright, so first decision is we're on the Asian account. I decided to start on the Asian account and then move into the European account since the third quest comes a little bit later in the evening on the European accounts. We have one trade, and on the Asian account, there's just so few people that play during the time that I'm playing, because I'm probably, more than likely, playing in the middle of the night for Asia. So challenge a friend is just not going to happen. Let's trade that out. Normally you trade out the 40 gold one. Not too bad, actually. If I have a Shaman account that will play 5 or more, and I can get 2 victories, I'm good as gold. If I somehow get 3 victories before I play 10, excuse me, that cost 5 or more, or 8 or more, whatever that is. I think it says 8. Wow, is that something that is that a daily quest? Whatever. Shaman would, no, the Shaman would be this one, wouldn't it? Will this work? We have a couple of custom Shaman. Let's just try it. Let's just play, try and get victories and move forward. We've got really a ton of news considering it's Monday. A lot of things got announced, more than normal. Maybe now that we are at the end of January, we're starting to see some more things get announced. E3 is about to happen, so theoretically some things could be announced at E3. The problem with E3, and I guess this year we'll be streaming E3 again, I don't really see a reason not to. Like, with the YouTube demonetization things, there are certain things that like start to make different sense. Like, why not just stream things that'll get content ID'd completely? This year on the E3 stream, one would have to be awake, which is harder than it sounds for me. I don't think we'll be playing Hearthstone this year. I think we're gonna leave it straight up. Just listen to the people, watch the full stream, just get the information. If anything, I might have a second monitor taking notes, and that's about it. The Hearthstone element didn't add much to it. Let's see. And there's a slight problem, though, as far as games that were announced during last year's E3 and still haven't come out, or games that were shown even 3 or 4 years ago at E3 that still haven't come out. A lot of games get announced, a lot of games get changed, a lot of games don't ever come out. 2017, the latter half of 2017 in particular, was a very decent year for game releases, but it didn't fully make up for 2016, which was kind of a lackluster year for game releases, and we still have some issues. That didn't work. That did not work at all, but this is the right deck to play. Are we playing casual or are we playing ranked? We're playing casual, so good. Like, other things that I've considered doing with the demonetization is I could theoretically try to play Nintendo games and Nintendo would just claim them, but again, that at a certain point Nintendo might copyright strike the whole channel, and I can't risk the whole channel for something like that. I could do the music streaming. The secret playlist could become a real playlist if I'm not getting money for these things anyways. Why not? At that point, that feels like that would sort of take a very drastic step in a different direction. It makes me feel a lot like I'm just a live streamer on Twitch at that point, just streaming music and not caring, and that too could eventually end up with copyright strikes. So like, I don't know how well I want to push it, and that's the problem with any of these ideas is if you're no longer having to care about content ID, why not instead play whatever you want? Which that very possibly could be the next big problem in YouTube, is that all these small channels that never cared, that now have no hope and no chance of ever monetizing, they're not going to respect copyright any more than as much as they even were, which that's always been an issue. But the other thing is, like, why not do non-advertiser friendly content? In all seriousness, like, Louis Rossmann he's not a person that I particularly actually watch his videos too much. He fixes iPhones and iPads at a very high level, and he has a YouTube channel, and he recently put out a video talking about how his best and most recommended video is him on a rant with bad words in the title. And he was talking about how he asked his PR rep that worked with YouTube, the person that works for YouTube and should know, like, why is the offensive video getting recommended way more than any of my other videos, and the rep just doesn't know. And so, like, it seems like YouTube's recommendation engine is totally built in the opposite direction of what YouTube says they want to be as far as being advertiser friendly, which I fully agree with, because when I see things recommended to me, it often is rants, offensive words, clickbait, things that look like they're of a sexual nature. And if you're just trying to do good content, it doesn't get recommended, and it doesn't seem like there's been any implementation or attempt to even fix that. So I would recommend, if anybody's interested in YouTube, for people to go look at his video and see what he's talking about, although I don't really think people need to do that for him. He's a big YouTuber. But yeah, that is another concern, is maybe just, you know, Honey Pop 2 is coming out at some point. I'm sure there's a nice collection of other, man, I keep running into really good players, like Leroy Jenkins style players. Do I need to quit playing casual and just play ranked? Because at least when I'm playing ranked, I suppose theoretically with the new changes that are coming to ranked play, I would be better matched up playing ranked instead of playing casual. Now, of course, that was a very short sample size of 2 games, but you can't get big sample sizes in Hearthstone when every game takes at least 15 minutes. And I feel like I'll almost instantly have a better experience playing against this 21 ranked player than I did on 2 casual players. Moving on with the news, I guess I kind of want to, if I get lucky, I don't know what the daily quests are for the Americas and the European account. But if I can get the news done, I would like to get back to Bionic Commando. Bionic Commando is a very odd game that I'm trying to kind of power through, I guess might be the way. It's an unfinished game in its level design, and I'm suspecting heavily that Dark Void was the other half of Bionic Commando, and Capcom split it into 2 unfinished games. Or couldn't merge the 2 in some way. I suspect, without having played Dark Void, I suspect you fly over the city and you can't go beneath a certain area because of radiation or something, and in Dark Void, and in Bionic Commando you can't go above a certain height because of radiation. That's my guesstimate without having actually played the game. But just speaking to Bionic Commando, because that's what I'm actually playing, you also can't go in the water because you immediately, well, you don't immediately drown. You do have about 3 seconds less than you actually would need to potentially save yourself before you sink to the bottom and drown. But the checkpointing system requires a load, and so you have to, let's see, what do I want to do here? Deal 2 damage to all targets, which means kill that one. You'll very often in Bionic Commando enter an area, transverse for 5 or 10 minutes looking for collectibles, run into some enemy after, I'd say closer to 15 or 20 minutes in the middle of the level, die against that enemy at least once, or by some other way in which you fall down or hurt yourself or drown, or you run into the radiation. The radiation gets exponentially faster the higher you go, so it is totally possible that you'll fling yourself up using some awkward flinging movement and instantly kill yourself, like just because you've flung yourself deep into a radiation cloud and die. Otherwise your health is regenerating, so your health is for the most part unnecessary, but it does encourage you to turtle and run and hide whenever you're taking damage from enemies, if you run into the very few number of encounters there are with enemies. And there's a couple of boss fights, and they're very methodical and boring, and you really have to figure out the one way they want you to win and succeed in that boss fight, or you're not going to succeed. They finally, 5 or 6 hours in the gameplay, introduced some characters that were surprising and more interesting, frankly. If it's your opponent's turn, give your opponent 2 coins. But overall, Bionic Commando has almost nothing in it. It's more about swinging with your robotic arm which the game could easily be an Indiana Jones game where you're just swinging with a whip, or any kind of adventure game where you would have a rope and a grappling hook. But that's what the vast majority of the idea of the game is 15, 20, 25-minute sections of gameplay are only around the idea of, can you swing from point A to point B? There will be absolutely nothing in your way. And that clearly makes it feel like there are problems. For the first several hours, the entire city you're in is dead. Completely dead. Just like no birds, no insects, nothing even close to something alive. Let's see. 711 worms. And then after 4 or 5 hours, you see one small section where you see birds. I think they were birds. They might have been drones, actually. And the drones are robotic enemies, and how you defeat the drones is kind of ridiculous, and it doesn't feel right at all. Apparently I only have 8. I'm not certain if I'm really supposed to be playing 5-mana things or 8-mana things. Let's go ahead and just kill that one. Play that and that. But Bionic Commando so far is mediocre too. Like Bionic Commando Rearmed, it's hard to find something that's rage quit inducing. You can get from every level to the other level. You may die 3 or 4 times, at most 4 times. But there's nothing really frustrating, and you're so rarely pushing buttons. It's like, maybe I'm just in a weird mental state right now. And Bionic Commando Rearmed and Bionic Commando, the remake, by the way, it's Bionic Commando 2009. Yeah. Let's see. Play this. That's good. Deal 2 damage to enemy hero. Let's see. Excuse me. Let's go ahead and kill this guy. And then smack this. But I need to move on with the news. Yeah, I'll talk more about Bionic Commando. Not that there probably is too much more to say later. I want to get back to it, obviously. The creator of the game, Fee, says the publisher EA has not meddled with the game's vision and that the main story will last 7 to 8 hours. In all truthfulness, you would never be allowed to work in the industry again if you said that a company, your publisher, had meddled with your vision. And like, that is a full-on declaration of an intent to never work with any publishers again. Publishers are very, very focused around the idea of maintaining good relationships with their partners, even when publishers are meddling. and maintaining their own appearance as being a good publisher. So yeah, even if they did meddle, whatever. The bigger issue I'd say with Faye is that it's a little uncertain as far as how much of well, I just handed victory to that guy, didn't I? Let's see, how many things did we play? Let's go back this way and see if we're getting anything finished. 10 cards that cost 8 or more. So we're not going to get that done with what we've got. Which means it's time to play Murlocs. Just your standard Murloc Shaman deck. I guess that's what we need, right? Yeah. Standard Murloc Shaman deck. Should get 2 of our daily quests done, and then we can move forward. I still don't have enough new information about Faye as a game, so I'm more interested in seeing that game, seeing how it comes out. If that game that comes out and it proves it has a vision that was worth protecting in the first place, then we could go back and look and say, well, I guess EA did meddle with it. Or if it comes out that Faye is a game that sort of looks like it had a vision and then it was changed or messed with, that's the point to have this conversation. If the creator came out after the game came out and failed as a release, which I'm not saying it will, but if in a hypothetical world where Faye comes out and it fails, and then the creator said EA meddled with the vision, that would be interesting. Honestly, I doubt very much that publishers want to spend the time to change too much. The only thing they'd probably do is give recommendations if your game was completely offensive and wouldn't sell and would cause controversy. I suppose they'd give you some recommendations then. Next story. Apparently you cannot keep ships you steal in Star Citizen, according to the Cloud Imperium games. You can steal ships for joyriding, piracy, or selling them for scrap, not for growing your collection. So how do you stop that? Any ships that you steal in Star Citizen will disappear the moment you log out of the game, making it impossible to build a personal fleet through theft. Okay, so really, what this... I have a disconnect issue there. What this comes down to is these ships I think you steal in Star Citizen are just randomly generated ships on bases. So you can get in, you can land a ship that's actually yours and on a base. Then you can get in a different ship and fly around, but they don't want the universe to be flooded with randomly generated ships. I think Star Citizen is also the game where ships cost real money, so it would totally destroy their economy idea. However, this really doesn't solve too much, because if you can just maintain that you never log out of the game, you could have a decent fleet. And if it becomes something like EVE Online where people start to work together, that would be interesting too. So I only need 2 more victories, so now I need to kind of rush through the news. There's a game called DYO, which is a co-op platformer where you can hop between 2 halves of a split screen. Now, doesn't that mean inherently that you need 2 players if it's co-op only? So as I'm reading the description here, I'm thinking, oh, well, this is a game. You can cross from one side to the other. It's a puzzle platformer about playing two minotaurs escaping a labyrinth. You cross over from one side to the other, essentially. If this has two or more attack, does he doesn't? So let me watch this trailer, but I think DYO is no good for me. It's out February 14th. This is a PC gamer, so it's probably on Steam. I'm seeing a trailer where just one person is playing, but that's really just a... Oh, and it's not a teleportation thing. Actually, the screen splits, and when the screen splits, you connect the two screens. And so it really is about puzzling out how can you accomplish your goals by drastically changing the environment. If this was a single player game, I would play it, but because it seems to inherently require two players, I can't. Moving on, Soul Calibur 7. 6 has first new character revealed. Let's see. He's a guy in black clothing with swords and fiery red hair. The Agent in Black, I think it might be the name of him. Well, for the Soul Calibur series in particular, it wouldn't be out of ordinary to have a very anime-esque character. His name is Groh, G-R-O-H. Oh, he also, apparently by default, has blue hair. He looks like a Final Fantasy 15 character. But that kind of makes sense. Like, there's nothing too crazy about that for Soul Calibur, the game that once had Darth Vader, Yoda, Link. Maybe his hair color changes in different attack modes. He seems to move pretty fast. He has two swords that connect. And then there's another character named Nightmare. The trailer's showing. Soul Calibur is all about combatants with swords of some sort. So you're going to have to go a pretty far gambit. The one thing I would say Soul Calibur could do is introduce some people that are just traditional swordsmen, like an actual knight with a long sword, an actual fencer, and they kind of seem like they start with something like that, and then they continue to add personality to the point where it stops making sense. But now I'm looking at two girls fighting, and one is just fighting with a regular sword and doing a lot of crazy moves, and I guess maybe the crazy moves are the issue, and the magic and the crazy moves. And the other girl was a centurion, and here's a guy called Killink who is fighting with a bow staff. Let's attack this and that and that. And what do we want to kill now? Guess kill this guy. Honestly, I'd still be more interested in playing Dragon Ball FighterZ than Soul Calibur when it comes out in 2018. But by the time, if I played FighterZ right now, I could have a newfound love for fighting games and be ready for something slightly different when Soul Calibur comes out. Let's see. SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy adds Nico Ruru and 4 minutes of gameplay. Let's watch this. This is the SNK girls. The gameplay. Oh, this is some of that footage that is just recorded off a camera at a convention in Japan. They're blurring out like all the faces of the presenters even, which is an odd thing to do, but I guess for safety's sake, they're not even doing a very good job of blurring out the faces. To get the footage, so it's not even press release footage. And so yeah, there's video in the background, but it's at an angle and you can't even really see it. So as I'm skipping through this video, yeah, the girls fight in tag team battles. We kind of already knew that. I'll come back with more information, I'm sure, later when that game gets closer to release. There's a new Gundam game called New Gundam Breaker that's due out worldwide in 2018. I'm not sure anybody who's not a hardcore Gundam fan is going to want to play it, though. It has a lot of stuff on screen, like a ton of menus and indicators, and there's some story to it, but honestly it feels like the story might be some kids making actual Gundam characters of Gundam model kits and fighting them in their imagination, kind of like a Smash Brothers thing. Because, well, I don't know. There's clearly a section where you are just painting your Gundam, and the Gundam is on a table, and there's a bunch of paints in the background, and there's a bunch of model kit boxes in the background. How that transitions and turns to the rest of the game, I don't know. And then as I'm scrolling down, I'm seeing several like character sketches, pictures of 4 kids that from an anime high school that somehow integrated in this. There is a trailer, so let's watch this. Oh man, this is really, really long. This is an hour and 35 minutes. It's due for the PlayStation 4 only. What is this? This is 7 Deadly Sins. Gameplay starts at 54:14. This is a really long presentation of several things. Yeah, the Gundam characters are fighting in the real world and they're tiny little models. I think that probably takes it in an interesting direction, instead of trying to do all of a Gundam anime TV series in a game, which there'd be story to lean on in that. Just focusing on the fighting element, and it looks like it's a pretty massive fighting section too. I'm seeing 10 to 20 enemies on screen. And it seems like it's really fast paced because it just showed on the screen you quest failed, and then it said quest start, and starts again immediately without load or anything. The characters can switch between their lightsabers and their guns and their shields, and they're not called lightsabers for real, but laser swords, I'm not sure. This looks like an entry-level style game. Like, if you wanted to get into Gundam, this would work. And if you're big into making Gundam model kits, this would still work. The only people it probably frustrate are people that want one of the anime series storylines, and they might be integrated in some way too, but not heavily emphasized. I don't know. Moving on to the next story, Age of Empires Definitive Edition could come to Steam eventually. Microsoft says other storefronts need to fully support Windows 10 first. In what way do they mean fully support? Like how does Microsoft want Steam to fully support Windows 10? By using the Windows 10 storefront as an integration? I don't think Steam would probably have too much of a problem with that. It'd be such a small outlier, and Steam already connects you and links you to like Uplay and EA Origin when you buy games on their storefront. So if you bought a game on Steam that only was on the Windows 10 storefront, and I think the only real problem there is, as an end user, if I bought Age of Empires Definitive Edition, and then it said, click this button to launch the Windows 10 storefront, and then I had to give a bunch of information to Microsoft and make a Microsoft account or something, as the end user, I would not be happy about that at all. I would feel like, no, I don't want to have to yet again make a new account, set up Windows 10, enable potentially some Windows 10 features I don't want. But I mean, depending on if it's smooth. The other thing is that the Windows 10 store has to actually work, and right now it kind of doesn't do that. Let me scroll down here. It might be that Steam doesn't allow games to integrate Xbox Live into its system, which, like, again, I would almost say let it, for all the outliers. However, that being said, a lot of games on Steam do have Windows Live, the defunct and failed integrator, already, and that didn't last or work that way. So I'd seriously doubt Xbox Live is going anywhere for a while, but eventually you might have a lot of games that just don't run or very poorly integrate into the rest of Steam, because all the achievements are just built into Xbox Live, and there are no Steam achievements, and all of the friends list and stuff somehow stops working on Valve and starts working only on Xbox. Yeah, it looks like this article is really just Microsoft pushing the buck and saying it's Valve that's stopping us. But well, here's an article from Polygon. I don't read many of their articles. The Xbox One has a serious exclusive games problem. Let's see if we get any real information from this. I don't go to their website, so it's a kind of a mess. I generally agree with the concept. Yeah, Xbox doesn't have a lot of exclusive games, whereas on the other hand, PlayStation does have exclusive games in some random different directions, usually. So I'm not sure how many fans of the PlayStation 4 want all of the racing games and the Japanese RPG games and the Uncharted games, and the Little Big Planet, like, and the God of War. It's pretty random on the exclusives, which I guess is diversified. I guess diversity is probably a good thing there, but that is definitely part of the consideration that Microsoft should look at that when it thinks. Whereas Microsoft is pretty consistent with just doing racing games and first-person shooters on rare occasions. Like, Microsoft exclusives for the most part are kind of bro-y, whereas PlayStation games are kind of weeaboo Japanese game exclusive releases with a lot more variety and outliers. As a PC gamer, I don't want either one of them to have any exclusives. Like, I'm certainly reeling from a potential never being able to play Crackdown 3. I don't even know if I can play Crackdown 1 or 2. Let's see. Like, what is giving this guy stealth? Well, I guess maybe because he played, he had stealth that turn. He turned into this character. There's a game called Re-Legion, R-E-Legion. It's like Syndicate with cults instead of corporations. This is a PC Gamer article. Let's look at it. It's a top-down real-time strategy game. It doesn't look that impressive. The thing about top-down real-time strategy games is it's like I never really want to play anything over something like StarCraft. Yeah, StarCraft still has to kind of happen first, and I kind of would like to go to Warcraft. So maybe in 3 years, if I powered through playing StarCraft 1, StarCraft 2, then I would feel like I was in a good position to play some other top-down real-time strategy games that look too much like StarCraft and Warcraft. I also have Command and Conquer already in my collection, so at some point I would like to play that before I got to a new one. And the thing is, real-time strategy games are just never going to be a main factor on my channel. I know that, unless I start making a ton more content. Or games like that are designed around being a better, more dedicated player than I probably would ever be. Let's see. Is there anything we can say here? It was announced at PAX South, this game, and let's get some hard facts here. The price, the date. Let's see. A single player campaign that is alongside with multiplayer skirmishes. Hmm. So yeah, this is really just an advertisement from PC Gamer. Like, no date, no facts on this. Just talking about the game. Gamasutra has an article about the Room developers and how the Room developers succeed on mobile. Quote, the only option left to us. Fireproof Games released The Room Old Sins, I believe is the third or fourth game in the series. The Room is this cell phone. Man, I am about to die again. He got all of his health back. This is ridiculous. I'm gonna lose just because. Where is he getting all these doomsayers from? Explain that one to me. Oh, because he's playing a doomsayer and then using Dust Shadow to do another doomsayer. King's Bane here is just getting powered up. This. And this. And then this. Yeah, The Room is a puzzle game that basically it's an object you find that you puzzle with. The Fireproof games are good about making 3D models that you manipulate. In a lot of ways, The Room would be... They would be game... They would be nice little mini games inside a larger run and gun first person shooter. As a concept, but by themselves they're alright. I felt like when I played The Room 1 that the story was a little too crazy and it was really short, and I don't think any of them are really that long, and it's really expensive. They did port them to Steam, so this latest version will probably get ported to Steam in a year or two. Apparently 4 games. Let's see. Quote, we have not fallen out of love with The Room at all, he explains. They're probably getting some decent sales just from that terrible movie called The Room too, so they got lucky there. But they definitely need to expand it into some kind of more consistent story, because I don't think there really is a great consistent story there, and some larger gameplay. If, for instance, The Witness had puzzles like The Room, I feel like The Witness would be a more natural feeling environment in a slightly better game. I might argue that. But since you don't walk around, you're just immediately in this room with some kind of object that has some weird magical properties, which the magical part of it I think kind of kills the idea too. At the very beginning it feels like it's just a it is just a 100% mechanical thing that somebody built as like a toy, but then it becomes magical pretty quick. In a surprising announcement, Facebook takes aim at Twitch and YouTuber with the Game Creator Pilot Program. And since I started late today, I don't really know what this is. So I'm very interested as a video game critic who streams. ESL recently signed a deal with Facebook, and that was a big mess to give it the right to stream the Counter-Strike Go Pro League and ESL 1 events. Ahead of the weekend, Facebook took the next step in the process of muscling in on Twitch and YouTube territory with the launch of the Gaming Creator Pilot Program. I may just have to open that link and look in there. Helping gaming creators build a more meaningful and more engaged community on Facebook than anywhere else. The program is still in the early days, but the announcement talks... Here, let me play a little bit first. Kill this one and this one. Talks about improving discoverability across the services including Facebook, Instagram, and Oculus, and developing tools that streamers need to make a living streaming games on Facebook. Naturally, monetization is integral to that. Can't earn a living without money, and Facebook is looking into ways to enable direct payments to streamers during some live streams. I don't know how people are going to be feeling about putting in a credit card through Facebook. Yeah, I don't think I want Facebook to know my credit card number as often as people's Facebooks get hacked. There's a lot of work to be done, but we're committing to building a fundamental architecture the gaming creators need to succeed, starting with foundational elements like enabling all creators in the program to live stream at 1080p 60 frames per second, which, yeah, you better in modern times. The thing that occurs to me here is, like, if it turns out I can't permanently upload videos or to Twitch, I guess Facebook would be the third option, and I frankly might just permanently upload videos to all three. Having two backups on two different services seems like a great idea, and sticking with YouTube is maybe my main thing. But then having those backups, most of all, with each new feature we add for gaming videos, we're committed to building it alongside our creators hand in hand. So Facebook is certainly saying the right things here. 1080p and embedded PayPal links aren't exactly revolutionary. I don't know if I want to go through PayPal either. But I was thinking about maybe setting up a Patreon at some point to just get it over with. And I think PayPal is through Patreon too. Patreon's through PayPal. And the ESL's debut did not go entirely smoothly. Let's see. But what Facebook does have, the platforms like Twitch and even YouTube do not, is mainstream reach. Yeah, that is certainly true. Like, there would be a vast number of people that I could at least get videos in front of until people got irritated and stopped looking at those videos. So this is very interesting, as YouTube is kicking people out, Twitch and Facebook are gobbling people up. And, like, I'm hoping more than anything this is just more of an evidence that YouTube is getting the pressure put on them. I'm looking at a video of video game streamers on Facebook, and one of them I recognize as like an announcer, I think, but the rest of them I don't recognize at all, which kind of says something. But there's kind of a problem there. most of the big video game streamers are all owned by Maker Studios, by Disney. So whatever Disney decides, well, you'll see the recognizable people go. And I don't follow a lot of streamers because I'm a video game critic. I'm not a streamer. Like, yeah, I think she was on Geek and Sundry or something. That as a presenter. One more game. And so now I'm looking at the Facebook announcement. Well, it says sign up here. Let's sign up here. Join now. Sign in with Facebook. What category would you... Let's see. Play here. While we're doing this. What would best describe your videos? Gaming? What the following best describes you? Let's see if we can increase the resolution so I can read it. I create online videos once in a while for just I create online videos regularly as a hobby. I create online videos as a full-time occupation. That is it. Instagram, YouTube. Let's see. Please list your URLs if you're currently online videos. All right. Let's see. Post the account URLs where you currently post online videos. Do I do anything else that I care to integrate right at this moment besides? Nope. By clicking on this button below, you agree to receive marketing related electronic communications. Let's do this, whatever. Congratulations, you're in. We're happy that you're part of the Facebook of Creators community, and we're excited that you're ready to create. Best use of Facebook tools and answers to all your questions. Get the app. No, thank. It's Android coming soon. Like, apparently there's a Facebook upload app. Interesting. This and this. You know what's funny is I don't know what I signed in as, but whatever. Let's see. Let's play. Well, I'm in. That was easy. That was too easy to join the Facebook thing. Alright, whatever. Let's move on. We'll see what any of that... Like, half of that stuff I think I had already done, so... By all means, I probably would have just been grandfathered into it anyways. So we'll see if this all of a sudden starts uploading videos from my YouTube to my Facebook in some slightly different way and promoting me. I'm waiting for the other person to play right now. Apparently Blizzard is monitoring YouTube videos to curb toxic behavior. I hate that phrase toxic because it's so political and crazy. Overwatch director Jeff Kaplan says that the team is making strides to better policing toxic and harmful in-game behavior, partially by being protective outside the game itself. Honestly, like, no game can do more than just kind of have a report button and maybe some voice chat or text chat monitoring things. Like, let's see. Like, if somebody wants to record themselves playing Overwatch and then put up a video where they overdub the audio and they're making fun of the other players and being rude, that really doesn't have anything to do with the experience inside the game, and I don't think Activision Blizzard can afford to be paying people to watch all the YouTube videos any more than YouTube can afford to pay people to do all that. Well, let's see. One more game or break it up? One more game or break it up? I think we'll go one more game. We'll go for one more victory, and then we'll break up this recording, just because I don't want to break up the recording and then on screen have to switch between the Asian accounts and this. You take note, like I said, more victories came about by playing ranked than by playing casual. Let's see, I've got some jobs, but I think Friday is probably the time to do job listings. Let's go ahead and keep that card. There's a Frozen Byte Steam sale on right now, which you could get the Trine Trilogy. Trine Enhanced Edition is 85% off at $2. Trine 2 Complete Story is at $3 at 85% off. And Trine 3, The Artifacts of Power, is $6 at 75% off. It's still worth mentioning, though, that Trine 3 was a piece of garbage. If you spend $8, though, you can get the Trinology, and that is 86% off, so that is better than the $11 to buy all three. And more than likely, even if you own Trine or Trine 2 or Trine 3 and don't own the other two, you could still probably, for most instances on Steam, you can buy the Trinology and fill in your collection and get a better deal than buying them separate. 9 Parchments also is $14 at 30% off, so that's not really that good of a deal. This is a PC Gamer advertisement more than anything else, though, because if you're going to talk about every sale that shows up every 2 or 3 days on Steam, that at that point it's not news. It really isn't. Even if a game is free, it would have to be kind of a major modern game to be free to even matter. Let's go ahead and kill that. Oh man. Phil Spencer says the Xbox Games Pass can create more opportunities for single player games. That might be the case. It's a stretch, certainly, but if you no longer need to worry about putting multiplayer in your game because you don't need to get sales because your game is just coming out as part of the Games Pass, like that. Let's see what he actually says directly. The idea of a new model that could open up opportunities for the creativity is where I think we'll end up, especially for single player or SP games, is what it says, which I assume SP means single player in his mind. Yeah, no longer do you need to put in microtransactions. No longer do you need to put in multiplayer. No longer do you need to put in season passes because you know and you have a guaranteed amount of income. That's not really saying that those games in the Games Pass system won't get all those things just out of greed or perhaps simply force of habit, but it would be helpful there. This is another job listing. It's strange to have job listings on a Monday. Microsoft has issued a Windows patch to disable Intel's buggy Spectre fixes. Patches on top of patches. Which I don't know if I ever actually got the patch in the first place. And certainly my computer has not been rebooting, so I've been fine. And then, but if your computer has been rebooting, try to run Windows Update. Hopefully that will fix it. Hopefully your computer can run long enough to run Windows Update. Sony patents have a new redesigned motion controller. It looks very much like a flight stick yoke in a lot of ways. It's got a trigger on the back. It's got a POV analog stick for thumbstick in the middle on the front. There's like a middle upper button with a left and right click, and then a further right 2 and left 2 lower. So it's almost, and then there's like, it looks like there might be a third right 2 or like a R3 and R4 or L3 R3. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know why I'm playing these small things. And then there's a strap that goes around your 4 fingers while the thumb is loose, and that doesn't look particularly comfortable. Of course, these are just patents, so they may never become anything, and whatever they do become, it may not be anything. Microsoft has acquired a company called PlayFab, accelerating game development innovation in the cloud. Wasn't like, I think, what was it? Crackdown 3 was supposed to have a lot of stuff happening in the cloud, and it didn't really work, and so they've just kind of quietly stopped announcing or talking about that feature. Maybe they're trying to get back on track there, or maybe PlayFab was working on those features. And let's see, this, and we'll play this and kill this one. And the turn, still trying to get that last victory. We already talked about the Twitch, the Facebook program. Let's see. PlayFab currently powers more than 12,000 games with companies like Disney, Rovio, and Atari, including Miner Tycoon, Angry Birds Seasons, and Roller Coaster Tycoon Touch. So they're mostly making cell phone cloud games, is what they're making. Read more about PlayFab here. So this feels like this might just be an acqui-hire type thing. That Microsoft wanted the technology or the programmers. Working for Microsoft is a nightmare, thus Gabe Newell created Valve. And if you ever wondered why Valve is so laid back and not focused on ever releasing Half-Life 3, well, just assume that you worked in an environment that was always obsessed about getting things done and making progress and changing their releases. And that's what Microsoft really is. Except for there's a lot of people at the top that change their mind, and that's why a lot of products don't ever come to fruition. Hearthstone is finally nerfing Patches the Pirates as part of its major balance update. Bone Mirror, Corridor Creeper, and Raza the Chained will be also hit. Let's see if we can get some more details. So Patches the Pirate right now reads, it's a 1 mana, 1 attack, 1 health character. Everybody should know Patches. Just kill that. It reads, charge. After you play a pirate, summon this minion from your deck. And they're just getting rid of the charge part. So it's now going in after the nerf. It will say, after you play a pirate, summon this minion from your deck. That's not too bad, really. Raza the Chained is a 5 mana, 5 attack, 5 health card that right now reads Battlecry. If your deck has no duplicates, your hero power costs 0 this game. Now, this in one specific scenario could be problematic. Because what it will do is, if you get this priest card into a mage deck, there's a mage card that says you can play your hero power as many times as once. Or if you get that mage card into a priest deck, or then you could continue to do that, which it means in one turn with the mage you could use your Fire Blast ability 30 times and kill a fully healthed up character. Which is something I think they're trying to get away from, and I'd want to get away from. So it will in the future read Battlecry. If your deck has no duplicates, your hero power costs 1 this game. Which I think that's fair. And if anything, I would like to see the same thing done with the Magician's Apprentice, or whatever that one card is mage uses to reduce spells by 1. If that needs to be changed to reduce cards spells by 1 until they cost 1 mana, or that way, even if you do have the ability to play an infinite number of Fire Blasts, you could still only do 10 per turn. 10 per turn doesn't really solve the problem. Maybe you need to limit things down to 3 mana, but then that card gets really nerfed. So yeah, I don't know what else. The other thing is the legendary on the mage that gives you a Fire Blast card every time a spell is gone. If you change that one, yeah, just nerf that one is probably the better move. So it says it'll give you one Fire Blast at the end of your turn instead of an infinite number of them. The next thing they are actually changing is the 7 mana, 5 attack, 5 health creature Corridor Creeper is now going to be a 7 mana, 2 attack, 5 health creature. That is a lot. That's a big difference. That's a major change. In fact, that's very possibly the largest shift I've seen in Hearthstone's in my time of covering Hearthstone nerfs. Quarter Creeper costs 1 less whenever your minion dies. That while this is in your hand, it still does that, but it's now not playable at all. That's a really crazy nerf. Bone Mare is a 7 mana 5 attack 5 creature that has a battle cry to give a friendly minion +4/+4 and taunt. And they are just slightly changing it to an 8 mana 5 attack 5 health creature that does the exact same thing. So, of these, with the exception of Corridor Creeper, a lot of this is not going to be noticed. I listed something that should be nerfed and isn't nerfed here. It seems like maybe Blizzard is in love with that meta deck that everybody plays, and so they're not going to find a way to nerf it, or maybe they're waiting to nerf it later. Microsoft's in what is Mixer? Mixer is the streaming platform and Twitch competitor that Microsoft owns. Ah, yes. Like Mixer, the thing I can't even remember what it does, is going to get in-stream tipping and game purchases to compete with Twitch. Everybody's competing. Competition in the long run will be good. In the short run, a lot of YouTube streamers are still going to be screwed. There we go. Victory. I don't know why you're going to concede when I was about to win. There we go. And that's where I wanted to get. So we're done with the Asian account. We'll be back on Wednesday with the Tavern Brawl, so that'll take up some extra time. And now's the time to break up. Stay tuned if you're watching live. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. All of that helps me out, supposedly, and tells YouTube to promote my videos, supposedly. If you want a friend or follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Google+, Steam, or Battle.net, all of those links are down below in the description box. If you like what I'm doing, send me a Steam game. That supports me more than the ads ever could. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.